Hi everyone, welcome to another weekend review. I hope all is well on Friday, March 4th, 2022. We are in the third month of the year, the first Friday of this month actually. So happy Friday to y'all and happy Lent. It's Lent season. What are you giving up for Lent? I know what I'm giving up for Lent. Well, I have been giving it up for Lent for quite some time, but I'm continuing to give it up for Lent. And hello to everyone that came on to check in. How are you? I hope you are enjoying your Friday night, either having some wine, sipping some wine, watching a movie, watching me. I won't be long before you on this Friday evening, this glorious Friday evening. So here we are. So let's get into COVID. We're still in the midst of a pandemic. It is almost 2 years. Next Friday will mark 2 years that we've been in this pandemic. That the national security threat made this a national emergency. So, according to the Johns Hopkins University and Medicine website, global confirmed cases are at 443,758,355. The global death toll is at 5,989,507. U.S. confirmed cases are at 79,250,505, and the U.S. death toll is 958,142. So again, we have 443,700. Let's repeat that again. We have 443,758,353 global confirmed cases of COVID-19. The U.S. death toll is at 5,989,507. We have 79,250,505 U.S. confirmed cases of COVID. So there are nearly 80 million confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the United States. We're the highest on the map. And as of the death toll is at 958,147. So we're like more than half, close to the million mark of deaths of COVID-19. In terms of vaccination doses here in the United States, 330,404 Americans have received the first dose of COVID-19 vaccines as of yesterday. But total, as of fully vaccinated, we have 215.9 million Americans vaccinated. So that is 66%. It's an improvement from a few months ago, but we're still not at the 70 percentile that the president wants, and we're not at the 90% that the NIH and the CDC is hoping for. In terms of cities, according to the state that I live in, the city that I live in particular, in my city that I live in, there are, in terms of people vaccinated, there's a breakdown. So there are actually, in total, there are more black people that's vaccinated, that the vaccinations of black people have increased. But if you break it down from fully vaccinated, there are more black people vaccinated than white people in New York City. Am I surprised? No. If you told me this a few months ago, I would have been surprised, but I'm not surprised. Black people, I'm in that age of 18 to 44 percentile. Black people fully vaccinated citywide is 60% in my age bracket. For white people, it's only 8% more. Hispanics is 82%. Hispanics overreach white people. They're almost at the same rate as the AAPI community. So, black people in Brooklyn, black people in the Bronx is 59% fully vaxxed, 60% vaccinated here, in Brooklyn, 63% vaccinated in Manhattan, 58% vaccinated in Queens, and 64% vaccinated in Staten Island. Fully vaxxed. White people is only 68% fully vaccinated citywide. So that's 67% vaccinated in the Bronx. Not that much from black people. 65% fully vaxxed in Brooklyn. 72% fully vaxxed in Manhattan. 67% fully vaxxed in Queens. A lot of white people are not fully vaccinated. So this myth of white people are fully vaxxed is not true. It's actually the AAPI community and Hispanics are mostly fully vaccinated, believe it or not. And it's more Hispanics that are older, that are much older, and much older black people that are actually vaccinated. If you get down to 45 to 64, 71% are fully vaccinated that are black people, while it's at the same rate as white people too. 73% of black people 45 to 64 are fully vaccinated, followed by in Brooklyn 70%, Manhattan 73%, 68% in Queens, 75% in Staten Island, which is more than white people. And then when you get down to 65 and older, you see there are more older black people fully vaccinated than white people. It's about like the same amount. So a lot of white people are not fully vaxxed. But the point that I'm making, which I don't even know why the mask mandates are relaxed in my city. I don't agree with it. But I guess they want to win elections. Here's the thing. I don't think this is a smart political move. Even the president himself in his State of the Union address was saying this is going to be another variant, because it is. It might surge. It might be in April. But it definitely will be before the summertime. It'll be like in May. So I don't know why people getting happy. More so the clear folks, white people, are getting happy, and a smidget of black people and a smidget of Hispanics who wants to be white adjacent. Here's the thing. The pandemic is not done with us. This pandemic will be done with us when the pandemic wants to be done with us. And no, nobody's not making any variants and no labs. So let's cut all the fucking misinformation out. COVID-19 is here. It's not just only in the U.S. It's all over the world. This virus, and I'm going to make this clear. This virus is not done with us until it's done. It's not finished, and it's not over. There's things are more improved. Yes, there's much improvement. But is it over? No, it's not. So here's my message to y'all, making this clear. Coronavirus disease of 2019, not of 2022, is here. We don't know when is it going to end. But how can we get out of this? We can, one, get vaccinated or take a pill if you don't want to get the vaccine, which I don't understand why. The same ones that don't want to get a vaccine is sure enough like to get implants and surgery and all this nonsense. And wear your mask and keep your distance. Then we could get to a place where we could do phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and so on. You don't want to do none of that? You will catch yourself on a ventilator. I don't even know how many times I got to say this shit. But people, you got to dumb shit down for people so people can understand. So I'm dumbing it down to y'all. If you guys don't take care of yourself during this pandemic, either wear a mask, get vaccinated, all the above, you will find yourself sick and eventually go with Jesus. Truth is truth. Hello to everyone that came on. Hello to everybody. So enough with COVID. So I hope everyone watched the State of the Union address. If you did not watch the live stream of Anti-Sick Analytics, please follow Brian at Mentally Divine, and you can see the video there. It's really informative. We were 30 minutes in, well, we was an hour and 39 minutes in. And it was great. He broke it down from section to section to section. I'm just going to do a short recap of it. Of course, There should have been more stuff that should have been said, yes, during the State of the Union address. But other than that, it was very positive. It was an hour and 5 minutes. It was an hour and 5 minutes of substantive things that actually got done during the Biden and Harris administration, and things that can be done more, versus the bums State of the Union address, which was like an hour and 30 something minutes, sometimes an hour and 40 minutes of nonsense, which the the Democratic response will be like 2 seconds, because this bum went on to what elongated to what he said. But of course, you got chaos agents on the right and some, of course, on the left, and then you got some in the middle. They be like, oh, the president should have said this, should address the inflation, should address. Listen, the president addressed things that needed to be addressed. He addressed the Ukraine situation because that shit is going on. It's almost pretty much Cold War style part 2. He also addressed the Build Back Better agenda need to be passed. The Voting Rights Act need to be passed. A whole bunch of things that need to be done, and things that have been done, like the ARP, which is the American Rescue Plan, which helped millions of Americans, and it helped 50% of children getting out of poverty. But of course, you got black media, you got the Latasha Browns of the world bashing him, which I want to know what she has done so far. Has she registered new people to vote for the midterms? I haven't seen that. But I'm just going to sum this up. So the State of the Union address was very positive. He addressed the Ukraine situation, which spent about 10-15 minutes on it, which was very important to pay attention to that and provide more aid to Ukraine. And he's planning to do that. Also, the economy, the establishment of 65 million jobs have been created under the Biden infrastructure bill and under the American Rescue Plan. How we lifted children out of poverty, which is true, 50% of children out of poverty. How people got stimulus checks in their hand. How it helped HBCUs and helped fund other things that were necessary. Also, in the conversation of police reform, he wants to provide more funding for police reforms and more funding for other streamlined services instead of defunding police. The slogan defund the police was really not a good slogan, thanks to the white progressives that bastardized that slogan, and some of those knucklehead black intelligentsias bastardizing that slogan to the fact that it did not work, and it actually made us lose some seats in some states that we needed those seats. But he did call for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act to be passed, and call for the Voting Rights Act that needs to be passed. If you want to use a slogan, how about reimagine the police, police the police? You can do that. Use Mrs. Denise terms, police the police. And she's a Black Panther. Let's keep in mind of that. And if she's making sense, I think we should all follow her. But other than that, it was a good speech. If you want to watch the speech, I believe it's on YouTube. You can look at the Biden and Harris administration efforts on a fact sheet. They lay out all the framework of what they've done and what they're going to be doing. So everybody just needs to calm down. And in terms of the student loan debt, there was student loan cancellation debt for people with disabilities, people that cannot pay, the most vulnerable. In terms of student loan cancellation debt for everyone, there are AGs, 29 AGs, including my AG, that is working on eliminating some of that student debt because Navient sold some student loan like debt consolidation stuff to other entities, which they was not supposed to do that. So there's going to be more erased from AGs. In terms of these quote unquote the intelligentsia of the progressive left, student loan cancellation debt, you made that loan, you pay for it. And those are the ones that's calling for that is mostly white men. And they're the ones that get those good paying jobs. They could pay their loans back. People like me can't pay our loans back. So thank God for A.G. James fighting for people like me who went to school during 2002 to 2014. I'm just saying. Moving on. The Grand Insurrectionist Party and their draconian bills have been just ridiculous. So, the governor of Iowa passed an anti-trans bill. I'm just going to find it here because It's ridiculous. It's crazy. So Iowa governor signs a law banning transgender girls from female sports. So she signed a bill yesterday on Thursday that will immediately prohibit transgender women and girls from competing on school, college, and university sports teams that correspond with their gender identity. The passage of the House File 2416 that has drawn a firestorm of criticism from transgender Iowans, LGBTQ plus advocacy group, businesses, and Democrats who say it discriminates against transgender girls and violates civil rights laws, which it does. Legal experts expect the law to end up in court, which it will be. She said the law is fairness issue because of what she said are athletes' advantages for transgender girls. Her signature puts Iowa among 10 other Republican-led states that have passed laws restricting transgender athletes in recent years. The law requires school-sponsored athlete events to be designated as a men's and women's or co-educational sports. Athletes competing in women's sports need to have female listed as their sex on their birth certificate. There is not a similar prohibition for men's sports in that bill. And the law also allows students to sue if they believe they have suffered direct or indirect harm based on the school violating the law. The Iowa Attorney General's office will represent schools and schools employees in lawsuits, and the state will pay any legal cost. So that's one draconian bill. And then there's another that happened in the state of Florida. So according to CNN, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is poised to sign into law a bill that will ban most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy, allowing only for exceptions involving serious risk to the pregnant person and fatal fetal abnormality, but with no exceptions for rape or incest. These protections for babies that have heartbeats can feel pain, and this is very, very late, the man says. End event. And I also think we're talking about late term. That's one thing. And so, I think the protections are warranted. He is the latest state among West Virginia and Arizona to advance a 15-week abortion bill this session. Meanwhile, the U.S. U.S. Supreme Court appears to poised to uphold a similar Mississippi law that bars abortion after 15 weeks. The fate of Roe v. Wade, the landmark of 1973 Supreme Court decision that legalized abortion nationwide, also hangs in the balance, and anti-abortion activists are hopeful that the court's conservative majority will strike it down. So, I got something to say. The Republican Party is not the Republican Party anymore. They're not the grand old party, not the party of Lincoln. They're not the party of Eisenhower. They're not the party of Calvin Coolidge, before Eisenhower. They're not the party of Ronald Reagan. They're not even the party of Bush. They're not the party of conservative hawks, fiscal hawks. They're not the party of globalism. They're not the party of humanitarianism. They're not the party of morality or family. They are the party that harbors insurrectionists, white domestic terrorists, and extremists. That's why they are called the Grand Insurrectionist Party, also known as the GIP. Absolutely can. Absolutely. And they also the party of fascism. The Grand Insurrectionist Party, formerly known as the GOP. Not the party of Lincoln, Calvin Coolidge, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan, the Bushes 41 and 43, not even the party of Cheney, believe it or not the party of globalist, humanitarianism, oh God, not the party of conservative hawks. I'll just base it, let's keep it basic. The Republican Party is not the party of morality, and not the party of morality. Oh wait, excuse me, did I fuck that up? This is how mad I am, because I'm reading everybody's comments. But the Grand Insurrectionist Party, formerly known as the Republican Party, formerly known as the Grand Old Party, is not the party of morality, Christianity, or any of that good stuff. They are not the examples of this country, even of the founding fathers. No. They are the party of extremists, insurrection, and white domestic terrorism. And that's why they are the Grand Insurrectionist Party, because they believe in limiting the rights of women, reproductive health, equal pay, the rights of human beings to be who they are, no matter if they're straight, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, binary, non-binary, and more. They don't care about a change in America. They don't even like black people. So I question some black Republicans that's still with the Republican Party. But overall, the Grand Insurrectionist Party is not the party of the Founding Fathers. So if you want to challenge me with that, I am more than happy to debate with you, because there's documented history proving they're not the party for the people. And I digress. Because you see, they embrace Tea Party folks, Freedom Caucus, insurrectionists, white domestic terrorism, Proud Boys, you name it. And the bum, the former bum. The twice impeached, disgraced former bum from Queens that resided in the People's House. But if you want to fight me on that hill, I'm more than happy to have this dialogue. Either on Twitter, your podcast, or in your face. And what does this mean for our midterms? It's not even about policy, Republican versus Democrat. This midterms in 2022, I said this last week, but I'm going to say it again. If you're listening out there, this is a public service announcement, also known as a PSA. If you're listening out there, this upcoming midterms is not about policy, not about Democrat versus Republican. This midterm is about preserving our democracy. It's about standing with our allies domestically and on the international stage. It's about protecting the rights of human beings. Whether you're black, white, red, green, yellow, let's see, straight, gay, bi, non-binary, all above. It's about protecting our democracy. And the only way we can preserve it and continue to protect it is to vote. So I'm asking you, pick a side. Because I know there's one party that is willing to protect us no matter how they go about their policies, versus the other side who just passing extreme bills and don't give a fuck about people that don't look like them. So I'm asking, pick your battles. Whose side are you leaning on? Because I know what side I'm leaning on. And it's not the party, and it's not the people that don't give a fuck about me. I had to say this. Like, I literally had to say this. Oh, yeah, they were awful, Cam. They were totally fucking awful. Awful, awful, awful. They were pieces of shit. Like, pieces of shit, Cam. Pieces of shit. But I think I covered mostly a lot of stuff. And now I'm getting to the section that everybody like. It's time for me to gather and collect some folks. So, that Republican response after the State of the Union address was just full of lies and full of, I'm not going to comprehend, I'm just going to make up shit and do whatever my party told me to do because I got chosen. The same governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, who passed that awful trans bill, is the same one that gave the Republican response after the State of the Union address. It was full of talking points from the Grand Insurrectionist Party. It was one of the worst misleading misinfo spread response. I just have a question for Kim. For Kimberly. Do you think Democrats want to mass children forever? Do you think Democrats were responsible for raising inflation? Oh, there's another one. So this is a good one. Do you think that Democrats want to defund the police besides one particular Democrat? I'll wait. Because guess what? The Democrat Party in a whole don't want to do that shit. So I don't know who Kim got her talking points from. Maybe it's from Ronnie McDaniel. But Kim, you were wrong on Tuesday. And you were so dead wrong on Thursday. But I'm here to tell you, your party ain't it, girl. Your party is taking you down a whole entire rabbit hole. But if you want to go down there with them, please do. With that tacky ass Karen haircut that you had. Looked like it was flakes coming out your head when you were talking. I didn't like it. Not one bit. Now, before I drag one particular person, I would like to gather some progressives. So, Miss Bush of Missouri 1 congressional district decided that she wants to criticize the president and said, all due respect, I want to defund the police. Do Corey know what the fuck is going on in big major cities? I mean, she represents one, right? There's crime is an uptick in major cities. I don't know why, but it is. That slogan, defund the police, was so colonized and bastardized to the point where it didn't work. And the upticks in crimes, because I live in a big major city, you can tell by my accent, that slogan did not work. Because children are getting killed. Children are getting shot in their face. The fact that you want to defund the police sounds kind of stupid. It's not a winning strategy. But this is coming from the one that has not done shit in Congress, and she been there. Has not even got a bill that made out of committee. It's not effective. But Chantay, she's a freshman congresswoman. Lauren Underwood was. Sharice Davis was. Richard Torres is one. They got their bills passed, made out of committee. Got bills enacted. Why Corey can't do it? Because she's on Twitter like her fellow squad members running their mouths. Majority Jones is a progressive. Do I agree with half he says? No. But he's not down with them. He votes with the party more than them knuckleheads. So, let me just say this. Whoever's challenging Corey, make sure you amp them up. Because Corey obviously is spending time on Twitter, planning her next move to sit on the Capitol benches and eat some chips and Oreos and some Doritos. Because obviously she's wasting people's salary to do that instead of doing her job. The record speaks for himself. And that's for white male moderates. All I got to say to them, people are like, why you get on the moderates? Because half of them get on my nerves. Especially Tom Suozzi. Tom Suozzi in my city, in my state, is running a vanity project gubernatorial campaign and using a Hispanic woman as to pander votes from the minority. Like, as if he's going to win. You almost didn't win your seat the last time. I don't even know why Tom even pursuing this project, but I would like to say to Tom, your whole campaign is fucking racist. It's misogynistic as hell. You come in after the governor, and I don't even agree with the governor half of the time. You calling her an interim governor, that's real fucked up when she was sworn in. Like, literally sworn in. And then you trying to call on A.G. James to investigate her? Like, who the fuck are you, sir? And you got white women standing for that racist man. But y'all the same ones that retweeting Stacey Abrams for governor and Val Demings for senator. I think y'all need to check y'all own racism before y'all even come for people like me. Because I know half of y'all do come for me. And trust me, I'm ready for you hoes. Been ready. So if you want it, bring it. Now, lastly. Ooh. I've been waiting for this. Gotta crack the knuckles, you know? Cracking the knuckles. I'm ready. I'm ready. So, Meghan Marguerite McCain, John McCain's daughter, it's once again trying to make herself relevant by disrespecting the first woman vice president, Black Southeast Asian woman. You know the screenshots. I got them. The receipts, as we say in the hood. So, where should I start from? Let's go to my Twitter feed. So The Hill, she quote tweeted The Hill saying, White House discussing sending Harris to Warsaw and, oh my God, I don't want to mess up this name, for, I guess, another NATO conversation. So she said this: please, for the love of God, send a serious person instead. I don't know why she played herself. But I said this. I quote tweeted her tweet. Meghan McCain should be the last person to talk about a serious person when her father chose Sarah Palin to be his running mate for vice president with very limited government experience and intelligence. This is a whole entire racist dog whistle, not surprising at all. After all, she took a salary pay cut to work for the most sleaziest and cheapest publication out of London. What a way to live. What a way to live your life. Or what a way, I meant to say what a way to live your life, Meghan. So, I guess she got mad because she got that OD ratio. And of course, I pull out my past video reading her. And then I said another thing. Meghan McCain's father made choices. The choice he made, choosing a person with very limited experience in government and lacks intelligence, hurt his presidential campaign tremendously. This is why Meghan McCain should shut up. And like Tiana said from RuPaul Drag Race All-Star Season 2, choices. And then I went on to say something else, because I had a lot to say. Since Meghan McCain want to tell Vice President Harris to get serious, let's go back to the VP debate in 2008 as Sarah Palin twists herself into a pretzel regarding the situation in Afghanistan.
Israel is in jeopardy, of course, when we're dealing with Ahmadinejad as a leader of Iran. Iran claiming that Israel is, he termed it a stinking corpse, a country that should be wiped off the face of the earth. Now, a leader like Ahmadinejad, who is not sane or stable when he says things like that, is not one whom we can allow to acquire nuclear energy, nuclear weapons. Ahmadinejad, Kim Jong-il, the Castro brothers, others who are dangerous dictators are ones that Barack Obama has said he would be willing to meet with without preconditions being met first. An issue like that taken up by a presidential candidate goes beyond naivete and goes beyond poor judgment. A statement that he made like that is downright dangerous, because leaders like Ahmadinejad, who would seek to acquire nuclear weapons and wipe off the face of the earth, an ally like we have in Israel, should not be.
I couldn't take no more because she's really stupid. And I don't even know foreign policy, but I know then President Obama was not willing to meet with no dictators. Get the fuck out of here. And so Meghan McCain also said something else. Also, a lot of you pearl clutching in the media about my criticism of Vice President Harris have enjoyed slandering my Senator Kristen Sinema in a completely unprofessional, disgusting, and vile fashion. So spare me the pearl clutching about the decorum of criticizing politicians. I believe the actual office of the vice presidency is serious and should be respected. I believe, given the gravity of what is going on in Ukraine, a more capable diplomat should be sent to negotiate. She can barely get through an interview with Charlemagne. I stand by my words. Ooh. Meghan! Oh, Meghan. You should not be talking because you yourself don't have experience in government at all. The only experience you actually have in politics is working for your dad's campaign, and you did not work there very long. You were actually let go Because all you do is run your mouth like you do on this Bird app. That's why you're so mad at Nicole Wallace and Steve Schmidt, because they told your father you working for the campaign is horrible because all you do is run your mouth, and they wasn't lying. They wasn't. We see on television shows and all other news shows that you've been featured on or you've been employed at, you run your mouth without any facts, any supported documentation. You get a lot of your talking points from your no-neck ass husband, Benjamin. And FYI, the highest office that Sarah Palin, your father's running mate, only was being the governor of Alaska, and she wasn't the governor for that long. Only for, 2.5 years? Vice President Harris, on the other hand, is an experienced public servant and politician. She is. She was the DA of San Francisco, was elected as the AG of California, elected as the Senator of California, and now served as our vice president, was elected as our vice president. The first woman, the first Black Southeast Asian woman to hold that office. Comparing Sarah Palin to Vice President Harris, Vice President Harris is more experienced in foreign policy. So she has the fucking right to go overseas to negotiate with our NATO allies. So Megan, your your no experience ass need to shut the whole entire fuck up, worry about your life, actually get a decent job, leave the Daily Mail, and take care of yourself. And worry about yourself. Because you will not reach the level of experience that Vice President Kamala Harris has. You will never amount to the greatness of Vice President Kamala Harris. So therefore, take a fucking seat and shut the fuck up. I mean, seriously. Meghan McCain should not be the person to criticize Vice President Kamala Harris. She has very limited experience working in government. Well, actually, no experience working in government and very, very limited experience working in politics. Like I said, she worked for her dad's campaign, and because she ran her mouth, Steve Schmidt and Nicole Wallace told John McCain, you got to get rid of your daughter. So I don't know why Meghan McCain felt she can provide her analysis on our vice president, tell her to get serious. I'm so sick of her, Peggy Newman, and Maureen Dowd to tell our vice president to get serious. As if they worked for serious people. I mean, after all, John McCain chose Sarah Palin as his running mate. A person with very limited government experience. Very limited knowledge of foreign policy. Actually, no fucking knowledge of foreign policy. I mean, who says they can see Russia from their house? But I digress. But Meghan McCain, I'm telling you, if you have nothing nice to say about our vice president, keep her name out your goddamn mouth. As I said, worry about yourself, worry about advancing yourself, actually rehabilitate yourself and your career, because your career is plateau, it's dry, because you did it to yourself. So you and your no-neck husband need to keep Vice President's name out your whole entire mouth. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And Natalie Johnson, nobody elevated you because you responded to Meghan McCain's post. Nobody elevated you. If anything, we called you out and read you to filth because you're irrelevant. So, I'm peacing out this weekend. I'm about to have me a glass of wine and I'm about to do some other stuff. But you guys have a wonderful night. Take care of yourself. Have a great weekend. And yes, I said no neck because he has no neck. He literally has no neck. If you see the picture of Benjamin, Benjamin looks older than my dad. And Benjamin is what, 40? My dad is almost 70. My dad will be 68 in March. And my dad looks young. That's what I'm saying. So if you want to catch the replay, it's on here. I'm going to put this video on my YouTube. You guys have a good night. See y'all next Friday.